One of the biggest myths that many singles have is that finding a partner will end your loneliness. But guess what? It won't. Now, if you've been following me for long, you would know that I have always loved living alone. In fact, when I was living in Pune during lockdown, I used to make vlogs about how I'm living alone, how I'm cleaning the house, and how I'm making my food. So I have loved the idea of living alone. And क्योंकि मुझे अकेले रहना इतना ज़्यादा पसंद है हमेशा से, तो आज जब मुझे अकेले रहना पड़ता है तो I don't mind it. I don't feel sad and lonely and disturbed when I have to live alone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the art of living alone and how to start loving the process of living with yourself. We are going to talk about 3 benefits of living alone and 2 tips on how to master the art of living alone. So let's get right into it. Number 1, we get a lot of freedom when we live alone. So talking about myself, I am someone who loves keeping things in a way that I want to see them. For example, my desk setup, जो मेरा desk setup है अभी, तो उस पे मैंने सारी चीजें जैसे रखी है, मुझे वो वैसे ही पसंद है. मुझे चाहिए कि मेरा पेन स्टैंड वहाँ पे रहे, मेरी लाइट यहाँ पे रहे, मेरा कैमरा यहाँ पे रहे, मेरा पानी का बॉटल यहाँ पे रहे. So I have a setup in my mind. मेरे दिमाग में एक setup है जैसा कि मैं चाहती हूँ कि मेरी चीजें रहे. And मैं जब किसी चीज को कोई जगह से उठाती हूँ, then I have a habit of keeping it back in that place. So when I'm living alone, I have the freedom to design the house or to keep things in the house the way I like it. Not that my husband interferes in the process when he's there, but you get my point, right? So when you're living alone, you have the freedom to design your daily routine, to design your lifestyle, to design what you're going to eat, to design what you're going to watch, what you're going to do in the entire day. Like, you have control over your day when you are living alone. Number 2, self-discovery. So जब आप अकेले रहते हो ना, आपको external distractions नहीं होते आपकी life में. Like, you don't have anything to disturb you. Like, your home is to yourself. Like, आप अपने साथ ही हो पूरे टाइम. तो काफी बार ना, you get a chance to self-introspect about yourself. You get a chance to understand yourself better, and you get to discover new things about yourself. So I've always been very intrigued by this quote by Aristotle, which says that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So when you're living with yourself, you can understand what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. You can do a self-introspection, and you can just spend the time with yourself to understand yourself better. Number 3, again a very important one, increased focus and productivity. Now this really happens. Like, me being married for 2 years now, I can tell you very, very clearly that this happens. At least for me. For my husband it doesn't happen, but for me it does happen. Like, when I have people around me, I cannot focus that well. But when I'm alone, I have crazy focus. Like, I can focus extremely well when I am alone with myself. But for example, if I have someone in the house and if that person wants to watch TV during the weekend, then maybe we'll sit and we'll watch TV. But if I was alone, maybe I would have, shot a video in that time, or maybe I would have written a script in that time. But I personally do not have the self-control to tell someone to let's not watch TV and let me do my work. So that often hampers with my growth or with my productivity. So when I am alone, I am much more focused and I can get much more work done in that period. If you're someone like me, I think living alone is the best thing that can happen to you, and you should utilize this time to work on the things that you want to work on and work on the things that you want to exceed in. So if you're in your teens or 20s and you're thinking that you're lonely and you're feeling sad about it, then my suggestion to you would be to use this time for your best instead of thinking that you are lonely and you are sad. Now let's talk about 2 tips on how to master the art of living alone. Number 1, cultivate self-compassion. There is another very beautiful quote by Lord Buddha, and I will quote, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." This simply means that you yourself, आप जितना importance and love and care दूसरों को देते हो ना, you yourself need it in equal amounts. But हम काफी बार खुद को वो प्यार और केयर देना भूल जाते हैं, but दूसरों को देते रहते हैं. So when you are alone, you learn the art of self-compassion. You develop compassion for yourself because you start understanding so many things about yourself. You start understanding what makes you happy and what makes you angry, what makes you sad, what kind of people do you like in your life, what kind of people you don't like in your life, what is it that is affecting you negatively. आप खुद के साथ थोड़ा empathize करने लग जाते हो and थोड़ा compassion दिखाने लग जाते हो कि okay, I'm also someone who needs love and care. Also, you get time for self-care and self-love when you are living alone. The second one is explore hobbies and interests. तो क्या होता है जब हम किसी और के साथ रहते हैं ना, तो काफी बार हमारी जो hobbies या interests होती हैं वो merge हो जाती है उस इंसान के साथ. You will have a combined hobby or a combined interest with your partner. As in when you start learning more about yourself, आपको ये भी पता लगने लगेगा कि आपको क्या चीजें पसंद है. Like what are the hobbies that you like personally? Like what are the things that you love to do? For example, when I was in Chennai, वहाँ पे मुझे बहुत loneliness, वहाँ पे मुझे बहुत solitude मिला. I'll not call it loneliness, it was more of solitude. It was very peaceful and I used to get a lot of thinking time. It was so peaceful there that I started my YouTube channel over there. This time पे something clicked. I felt like I should start an outlet for my creative thinking because I have always been a creative person. So the thing is, when you are living with yourself, sometimes you discover new hobbies and interests that is for yourself, that nourishes your soul and that nourishes you. And having that hobby and interest is very important because when you are alone, you really need it. Because जब आप अकेले होते हो and आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा होता है कि अभी कैसे जिएं, कैसे रहें. For example, if you are single और आपका अभी ब्रेकअप हो गया है, तो फिर आप सोचोगे अभी कैसे रहें, क्या करें. ये आपको इसीलिए लगता है क्योंकि आपने कभी खुद के साथ सेल्फ लव डेवलप नहीं किया, सेल्फ कंपैशन डेवलप नहीं किया. You never learned what are your hobbies. You never learned about yourself. आपको क्या पसंद है, आपको क्या नहीं पसंद है. You have never learned these things. And that is why when you are single, when you are alone, you take it as a very bad thing. You take it as a negative thing. I was reading this book called 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. इसमें एक बहुत ही अच्छा comparison दिया है between solitude and loneliness. I'll read out a small paragraph for you. It says that solitude is the antidote to loneliness. Paul Tillich said, language has created the word loneliness to express the pain of being alone, and it has created the word solitude to express the glory of being alone. The difference between loneliness and solitude is the lens through which we see our time alone and how we use that time. The lens of loneliness makes us insecure and prone to bad decisions. The lens of solitude makes us open and curious. As such, solitude is the foundation on which we build our love. Solitude is not a failure to love. It is the beginning of love. Now, I loved these lines very much because this just felt like something I wanted to hear. Because, जो लोग अकेले रहते हैं, because I also coach a lot of people. I am a life and relationship coach. So, a lot of people who have had breakup come to me and they are like clueless कि अभी क्या करें life के साथ. One of the reasons they are so shattered or so sad is because they don't know what to do anymore. So, when I read this, it clicked something inside me and I realized that, okay, right, like they are thinking that they are lonely. They have not realized the solitude part of it. That being alone can also be glorified and it should not always be looked down upon. When you start loving the process of being with yourself and loving yourself, जब आप खुद के साथ प्यार करना सीख जाते हो ना, then you are in a position to spread that love. Then you also learn to give love to others. तो मैंने एक रील भी बनाई थी, वो ये था कि अगर आपके पास खुद ही कोई चीज कंप्लीट नहीं है ना, तो आप वो दे नहीं पाओगे किसी को. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपको किसी को पानी देना है एंड आपका जो खुद का घड़ा है वो ही पानी से नहीं भरा है, उसमें थोड़ा ही पानी है, तो आप किसी को देने की हालत में नहीं हो. बट व्हेन योर ग्लास और घड़ा इज फुल, देन यू कैन गिव सम ऑफ इट टू अदर्स, राइट? सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप खुद को पहले प्यार करना सीख जाओ, लाइक अपना घड़ा फुल करो एंड देन यू विल बी इन अ पोजिशन टू गिव लव टू अदर्स. एंड उसके बाद जब आप दूसरों को प्यार दोगे ना, तो आपका खुद के लिए प्यार कम नहीं होगा बिकॉज यू हैव इनफ वाटर in your own glass or tumbler or ghada that you will not be deficient of it. So on that note, I will end this one here. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please make sure to hit a like on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and also while subscribing, please do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you will know when I put up my next video. And I will see you again in my next one. Till then, bye.